Born premature and weighing just 1 pound, the odds were stacked against Cornell Cranham from the start. He was given little chance to survive at birth, and the decision John and Kim Cranham made to adopt Cornell 30 years ago has led to a life story of perseverance, faith, and love. In the early 90s, Kim Cranham was working at a hospital for sick and premature babies when she first came across Cornell. Cornell was a victim of his mother's drug use and was placed in a neonatal intensive care unit until one day he started to take breaths. When Kim first talked to John about bringing Cornell home, it was quite the surprise.
I thought she was insane. We were a young couple and trying hard to get pregnant and had a miscarriage. And I think when you're a young woman, you definitely are dreaming about being a mom, and I don't know if there's quite the same drive for the dad, but I could certainly feel that. But I did not see it coming that she thought he should be ours. But it was an amazing thing. I mean, it was one of those things that when she brought it up, she gave me a lot of space. I thought about it for several weeks, and it was actually in church when the minister was sort of talking about listening to God's little voice, and I hadn't been able to stop thinking about Cornell, and that's when we sort of made the decision.
Despite doctors advising that Cornell could potentially never walk or talk, he continued to defy the odds, and his positive attitude has had a profound impact on the people around him throughout his life.
With everything you went through at such a young age, how did you maintain such a positive attitude?
I feel like everything that I went through before was kind of bad, but now I think, I'm healthy, and I am just looking at it as a positive outlook.
I think what changed everything for me was he was just, despite just so much crap that he had to deal with, in between the frames of when he was getting messed with by healthcare professionals, he was just unbelievably happy. He just had this incredible ability to find a place that he could go back to and calm himself down and seem to enjoy life. And I think for me, as a young dentist, a young professional person at that time, I was struggling with that. I mean, I was struggling with where I wanted to go and what I wanted to be, and if things weren't perfect, I spent a lot of time being unhappy about not being exactly where I wanted to be. But the night that we almost lost him, I saw a human being fight for his life harder than anybody I've ever seen fight. And it was sort of that night that I realized that the reason he was so happy is he just always gave 100%. And some of my guilt, I think, was that I realized I kind of wasn't. And so I changed. I mean, he sort of shamed me into finding a different gear. And I think as humans, we are happiest when we're applying ourselves fully. And so, you look at a 32-year career, I'm in a completely different place now because of that.
Shortly after bringing Cornell home, the Cranhams found out that Kim was pregnant with their first daughter, Caitlin. And despite not knowing it at the time, Cornell's perseverance would change the Cranham family forever.
Cornell, I would say, has always been kind of the glue of the family. He just has this way of whenever everybody's kind of doing their own thing or having trouble with something in their life, of kind of reminding you what's most important in life. I don't know who I'd be without Cornell. I think Cornell has been such an integral part of everything that I've ever done in my life. He's always pushed me to be better, to do more, to be grateful for every gift I have, because as we've grown up, I've seen things that he can't do that I can, and vice versa. But I think that he's always pushed me to be better and to want to do more, to always give that extra 1%.
One word you would use to describe Cornell?
Inspiring. I always imagined I'd be a dad and have children. I certainly never thought about adoption. I had a good friend who was adopted, so I didn't have a stigma against it, but I certainly never imagined we'd have a a adopted child of a different race. But it's just been one of the great joys of our life.
This past year, Cornell created a unique bond with the former voice of the Hokies, John Laser. Laser read John Cranham's book, The Cornell Effect, and was captured by Cornell's inspirational story. Once the football season rolled around, Laser and color commentator Mike Burnop helped welcome Cornell into the booth and onto the sidelines.
And I was just so captivated by what he had overcome, what that family had committed in terms of providing him what he needed so that he could overcome. And it was just so inspirational. I invited him to be a part of our radio crew for football, and he was down on the sidelines assisting. And essentially, simply put, he just became a big part of who we are in terms of where we wanted our mentality to be, which was upbeat, optimistic, hopeful. And I think he represented all those things. And now that I've known him for more than a year, we just consider ourselves great friends.
My sister Caitlin and Kristen went to college, and I never had that full experience of college, but I feel like with John Laser helping me get on the team and being closer to the players and being able to be on the sidelines with Les McElroy and everybody on the team, I really feel appreciated of what John did for me and what a great experience it was.
One of the coolest things last year was Coach Fuente made the book available to anybody on the team that wanted it. I think 110 books were taken that day. So beyond just the personal satisfaction, the book went to number 5 on Amazon, and it's really started with the interest from the Hokie community and just embracing this story and embracing this kid. And I can just tell he walks a little taller because of that.
The Virginia Tech and Blacksburg community embracing Cornell is just another example of how sports truly bring people from all walks of life together.
But John and I brought Cornell to practice during training camp in August, and it was just amazing to me that the guys gravitated to him. There were some of them that already knew him from having been at a practice a couple of years prior when Coach Fuente brought him in. And to see guys like Dax Hollifield come over and just immediately want to be around him and talk to him. And it wasn't a one-off thing. We started the season against North Carolina, and Cornell was down there, and I noticed through my binoculars that Dax was coming over, and some of the other players were coming over, and these hulking guys and linemen and little Cornell. But they viewed him as a teammate, and that's what I've always loved about sports is it's not necessarily that you're in the trenches or you're between the lines, but when you're a part of that group, a society or a family, and you're all attempting to accomplish the same thing, it becomes really just close-knit. And it was amazing and awesome for me to see how easily Cornell integrated into that and how much those guys, coaches and players, felt like he was a part of the team and was helping them. And
at the end of the day, we're in this kind of crazy world right now where we have so many things that are going on that are separating us by race and by socioeconomic status and infighting and all the things that go along with that. And I just watch my son just tackle things that are really challenging in a way that has just such tremendous grace. And it's because he looks at his own life as a gift. And I feel like if we could just, people could get back to just realizing that this short time we have on this earth is such a blessing, and if we would focus more on what we have in common rather than our differences, I think the world would be a whole lot better.
The way Cornell has faced adversity and continued to have a positive mindset has brought joy and an appreciation of life to anyone who knows his story. From Blacksburg, Virginia, I'm Wyatt Krieger.